All right, hello there. Welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. All right, a couple of weeks ago, I put up a post on my community tab on YouTube asking for your questions as part of a Q&A for August 2024. I got a few questions that came in, and in this video today, I'm going to respond to those questions, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the comments that you have. For those of you who are going to watch this video, I want to see what your thoughts are in response to my responses to these questions. So without any further ado, on the other side, we're going to get into some Q&A for August. Enjoying a nice cup of Joe here on this beautiful morning here as I am about to go into some Q&A. So I don't do these very often. I probably have only done like one other of these. So this might be my second Q&A. So I want to hear in the comment section, I want to know, like, from your perspective, do you like Q&A videos? Is this a format that you like? Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. I know a number of other, content creators do Q&A. So I think this is a format that hopefully will work well. So the way I'm going to do this is I've got the questions in a slideshow. So I am going to share my screen to the wonderful application that I have the slideshow in. And that application is Microsoft PowerPoint. So we're going to go to a slideshow to the very beginning here. This is actually my first time using PowerPoint in a recording here. So let me know what you think about this. But yeah, this is our August 2024 Q&A. So I'm going to jump right into these questions for this Q&A. So this first question is from name inserted here that came out here. And he actually has he or she has two questions. The first question is, what is a movie not in the collection that you hope will be in the collection soon? And then the second question is, are you considering picking up the Janus contemporary title About Dry Grasses once it is released? So I think, first of all, thank you for submitting this question. These are two very good questions. And I love these questions because with this first question, people oftentimes talk about, oh, I would love for this film to enter the Criterion collection. Oh, only if only Criterion would release this film here. So I do have a couple of these films in mind, and I'm going to share them right here. So this first film is a film from the Coen brothers from, I think, 2007, I want to say. And it is such an extraordinary film. It is a film that really, in my opinion, requires no introduction. I've said countless times on this channel and other channels that I would love for Criterion to release a 4K of No Country for Old Men. I think No Country for Old Men needs a 4K release, but I would absolutely love it if the Criterion collection announces this for 4K. There are no clean getaways. This is Javier Bardem, Tommy Lee Jones, and Josh Brolin, or Thanos, in this incredible film from the Coen brothers that is unlike any other. And this is a little bit of a taste of what this amazing film, my favorite of the Coen brothers, entails.
What's the most you ever lost in the coin toss? Sir, the most you ever lost in the coin toss?
Javier Bardem won Best Supporting Actor Oscar in this film. As Anton Chigurh, one of the scariest characters that you will ever see.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life.
Your whole life. You just didn't know it.
You know what date is on this one? 1958. It's been probably 22 years to be here. But now it's here. And it's either heads or tails. You have to say coin. Look, I need to know what I stand to win. Everything.
Everything.
That's His tempo and everything, all that.
No Country for Old Men is set in 1980. So amazing film. Here's another pick, and I'll probably get some flack for saying this, but and I'll explain why. I would love for a film like Star Wars, for Star Wars itself, not any of the other Star Wars films, not even Empire Strikes Back, not Return of the Jedi, none of the prequel films for sure, and none of the sequel trilogy. I would love for the original Star Wars film to get a release in Criterion. Like a special edition Criterion edition would be incredible. Specifically, I would like it to go in the Criterion collection as Star Wars, not Star Wars: A New Hope, not the tag that was added, 20 years ago when they started doing the episodes and they called it Episode 4: A New Hope. No, I would want to go in the collection as it was originally theatrically released as Star Wars, and to be the original theatrical presentation before George Lucas put the updated special effects. So I would love the original theatrical presentation of Star Wars to get a special release by Criterion. That would be like a dream thing. So that's kind of pie in the sky. Will probably never happen, but that's one other film I would love to see go in. And then Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler needs a 4K, and this film that stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo would be fantastic on 4K, and I would love for it to get a Criterion release. And then, we have films like Shaft, in the Criterion collection. It's just an incredible film. And as I think about like the blaxploitation era of cinema, I wouldn't mind seeing the wonderful Foxy Brown or Coffee, the wonderful Pam Grier vehicles, or just Pam Grier, period, getting an appearance in the Criterion collection, either in Coffee or Foxy Brown. So we got Shaft in the collection. Why not Coffee or Foxy Brown? Now, as far as you asked about Dry Grasses, I don't know much about this film, but I did have a chance to read the description on IMDb, and it definitely looks interesting. It's definitely a title that I may consider picking up, but I'll read up on it a little bit more. It looks like it is a Palme d'Or winner for Best Actress. So it definitely looks like a quality film that I need to give some consideration to. It says official entry, Turkey, Best International Feature Film, 96th Academy Awards. So this is a Turkish film, and it is a film from Nuri Bilge Ceylan. I have not seen it, but I will definitely give some consideration to about Dry Grasses. So yeah, thanks again for submitting those two questions. All right, the next question is from an internet user, one, and it says here, one form of criticism against a movie I have heard is not liking or not finding the characters relatable. What are your thoughts on this? Well, that is a very good question. And what I would say is that is definitely a pretty common critique that people have, for films. Like, I can't relate to the characters. Sometimes I feel that way myself, but I think one thing to consider is the purpose of the film and what the film is trying to achieve as well. So sort of thinking about that too is something that I think people should consider. So not every movie is shooting to present characters in a way that the audience can see themselves in or directly relate to. Every film isn't necessarily going for that. Sometimes characters are meant to sort of challenge us and offer a different perspective, or maybe even represent something, beyond what we can personally or tangibly relate to. So that's something to think about as well. So, like maybe a social issue or some esoteric or abstract idea. So I think that while oftentimes we do look to, have a personal relatability to characters, that's not always something that a film is going for. So that's something to consider. Those are some general thoughts that I have on that. But thanks again for that question. All right. Shua Gege 12345 send in a question. saying, have you seen Pudovkin's A Simple Case from 1932? What do you think of it? Never see it mentioned, but I think it's one of the best films ever made. Well, Shua, that is a very strong statement. One of the best films ever made. I have not seen Pudovkin's A Simple Case, but you're saying it's one of the best films ever made. Definitely is has me intrigued and makes me want to potentially check it out. This is the film that you're referencing, A Simple Case. It is a 1932 Soviet film directed by Vsevolod Pudovkin and Mikhail Doler. Pudovkin was publicly charged with formalism for this experimental sound film and was forced to release without a soundtrack. Okay. Yeah, I've not seen it. This is off of Wikipedia. And then to the right, you see Vsevolod. I just butchered his name. I'm sorry. Vsevolod Pudovkin was born in 1893 and passed in June 1953. So he was a Soviet film director, screenwriter, and actor who developed influential theories of montage. Pudovkin's masterpieces are often contrasted with those of his contemporary Sergei Eisenstein. But whereas Eisenstein utilized montage to glorify the power of the masses, Pudovkin preferred to concentrate on the courage and resilience of individuals. He was granted the title of People's Artist of the USSR in 1948. Okay. So, yeah, that's a long way of saying I've not seen it, but I'm definitely intrigued. If you're saying it's one of the best films ever made, definitely need to work A Simple Case into my viewing at some point in my journey. But for those of you who have seen it in the audience, drop a comment and let us know what you think of A Simple Case. All right. Chris Polo 02 is asking, do you have any advice on thinking more critically about cinema? I watch a lot of movies and love film, but wouldn't know the first thing about formulating my thoughts into a review. That is a great question, Chris. And, I certainly do a lot of reviews of Criterion Collection releases, Arrow Video, Kino Lorber, studio titles. I do a lot of reviews of physical media releases and sometimes reviews of films, but I am by no means an expert on it. I am not a film critic. I'm not a film school graduate. So for me, this is a casual endeavor. But to share a few thoughts that may be helpful in terms of how I think about it, I would say that when you're thinking critically about a film, you'll want to think about the various aspects of the film in terms of some of the technical aspects around cinematography, art direction, sound design, the directing. You'll want to think about the acting. So thinking about breaking the film down into its component parts of the way that it's presented from those standpoint, the way that the actors are performing, the writing, what's the quality of the writing. So those are some of the aspects that you'll want to consider. And then you want to ask yourself, how do those aspects contribute to the story in terms of the actual narrative that is being presented? Is the narrative compelling? Are the characters compelling? Is it presented in terms of the film in a way that is interesting in terms of the cinematography? How does it look? How does it sound? Those aspects are some of the things that you'll want to consider when you're thinking about, critiquing a film in terms of the quality of the presentation. So, for example, let's say it's a film that's a period piece from the 1930s. How realistic of a presentation of the 1930s does it feel to you? Do you feel like you're being transported to that era? Do you feel like you're inhabiting that era, that era of history when you watch this film? If so, then that film has done a really good job of world building and production design and art design and presenting this period piece, and costume design in terms of the clothing and the makeup and all the aspects of the characters looking like the way that people looked and dressed at that period of time, as well as the way the cars or just the general environment. Does it feel like the period that is representing? And then just other aspects that just make you feel like you're inhabiting a real world, whatever that world is, and what's the overall quality of the storytelling. So hopefully those are some things um, that will help you think about some areas to think about. And then ultimately, when it comes to critiquing films, you have to bring your own voice and style to the conversation. So hopefully that helps. But again, Chris, I appreciate you submitting this question. Thank you. All right. Hunter Robinson, 2846. I'm sorry I missed the cutoff date, but I hope you can work this in. Oh, let me think about it. Okay, we'll work it in. One thing I appreciate about you and your channel is that you seem to be open to pretty much all types of cinema from over the world, pretty much, for the most part. And I appreciate that thought. Thank you. Are there any movies that, for whatever reason, you have no interest in ever watching? I love this question. I absolutely love this question. And the answer is yes, there are some. And I'll show you some of them right here. So, all right, here are some films that I have at the moment, and I'll sort of qualify this with this is how I feel right now. How I feel right now might be different tomorrow or a month from now. So this is not a definitive, forever and ever and ever. I'll never change. This is just the way I feel right now. These are films that I have no interest in ever seeing. Now, a year from now, I might have seen all these films and loved them. But as I sit here right now, I don't have any desire to see Gummo. This is a film that is been announced by Criterion. It's coming out in October, I think. And a lot of people are excited about this film, but based upon what I've read about it, I just don't have any interest in seeing it. It just doesn't seem like it's a film that speaks to me. And I'm just not interested in this particular film. Now, what I'm looking for in the comments section for these films I have displayed here is if you've seen these films and you love these films, can you state a case in the comments for why someone who has no desire to see these movies, why they should? Please let me know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. But yeah, Gummo is one of those films I just have no desire to see. You go down to the bottom there, and Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, the Pier Pasolini film. I have the Pasolini set over there that I need to finish. Pasolini 101 set. Beautiful set. I need to finish it. But this is a film by Pier Paolo Pasolini that I have no desire to see. Okay. I've seen it in Barnes and Noble. I've seen that Blu-ray in Barnes and Noble for years and years and years. And I just have no desire to ever buy it or see it. But let me know if you are a fan of this film, of Salo. What do you think? Then to the bottom left, and this is a case where I'm not knocking this film. This is Avatar: The Way of Water. I have not seen it. I have no desire to ever see it. And I don't say that because I hate Avatar. I actually have a high level of respect for Avatar, and I think James Cameron is an absolute brilliant visionary filmmaker. I saw the first Avatar when it first came out years ago, all those years ago, and was blown away by it from a technical standpoint. I think it's a technical masterpiece of a film. My issue is when it comes to not wanting to see Avatar: Way of the Water, or is I just I'm not really interested in the story or the world or these characters. I'm not interested, in this world. I'm blown away by the technical mastery of it, by the way the film looks. Is obviously a visual masterpiece to see, and I'm sure that Avatar: Way of the Water is visually stunning. I'm sure it is mind-blowingly stunning and an incredible technical work. I'm just not interested in the Navi, in the blue people, in this story, in this world. I'm just not interested in Avatar in that way. I saw the first film, nice experience, but I just don't have a desire to see any more of those films. So again, it's not knocking it. I'm just not interested in that world. And then to the far right, the biggest picture here, F9, the Fast Saga. I like the Fast and Furious series, especially Fast 5, 6, 7, 8 is okay, but it just keeps getting more and more ridiculous. I will probably see the last installment to see if they can bring it back down to earth and put a nice final chapter to this saga. But F9 and Fast 10, I just have no desire to see. I'm just not interested in them. I'm kind of burned out from the franchise, the sillier it has gotten. And I just kind of wish that I kind of wish that with Fast, I think it was Fast 7, the uh in that scene where Paul Walker representation and Vin Diesel when they meet and the cars go like this, I kind of feel like that would have been poetically the that should have been the end of the series. The series should have ended right there, and it would have been one of the most beautiful and poignant endings in the history of cinema if they had just ended it there. Now, of course, poignancy or not, these studios are about making poignant money. And so, as long as they felt that they could make more money by making more of these movies, they were going to they were going to pump more of these out. So, I totally get that from a business standpoint, but just from an artistic standpoint, I wish they had ended the series with that, you know, with the cars going like this and going off into the sunset. I think that would have been a beautiful and fitting into the series. But yeah, these are the films that I have no desire to see. So with that, I am going to stop my sharing and I am going to go back into StreamYard here and stop sharing. This is a kind of a clunky way of doing it, but yeah, I do appreciate you all sending in your questions. This is a lot of fun to just sort of see what questions you have and just have an opportunity to respond to some of those questions. But let me know in the comments section below, what do you think about this format? What do you think about Q&As in general? Did you like this Q&A? And also, please drop some comments responding to these questions as well and just sharing what you think. Let's sort of have fun with this video. Drop those comments in the comment section below. And as always, I appreciate you watching and we look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.